Hello, welcome to this episode of the Long Island Business Podcast. I'll be your host today. My name is Adam Walsh from Oasis Senior Advisors, and I am joined by Tiffany Rivera, who was with the Winston, but as I understand it, has some news. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with you now, Tiff.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I bought the Winston about a year ago. We were in Sayville. We just moved our location over to Patchogue. We doubled in size. We have a nice fireplace now. We have our own parking lot, which nobody in Patchogue has. And now we are actually creating a parent company to go over our Winston building. So what I found was that the Winston in its location was just a little bit limiting. And I really want to partner with many nonprofits, many people all over the island. So we are creating a new brand called Impactful Events and Venues. And that means that we can plan your event anywhere. It doesn't have to just be in our location in Patchogue. We want to partner with nonprofits that want to create a revenue stream based on their building and their location. What we specialize in is working with nonprofits. So I renovated an entire church hall in September. It happened over the summer. I thought it was going to kill me in that process. I've never had a construction project before. I never went after financing and, debating partners, things like that. And we are so happy with where we are, how it turned out. And now the church gets a revenue stream that they don't have to manage. What I find is that a lot of the churches are relying on their Sunday morning donations. Temples are doing the same thing. They're relying on donations from their congregation, but their congregation is an aging population, and we don't have as many people going to churches anymore. And the part of it that kills me when I think about this is that churches and temples and your places of worship, those are community centers. Those are the people who are taking care of people when government fails them. Yes, we have those things in place, but moms like me often get left behind in that. And we turn to the churches, we turn to the civic groups, the foundations, the organizations, and they need a little bit of help. We can't rely on donations. So my business partners with a nonprofit, and then we renovate their building if they need it. We'll help them with funding for that. We'll help them with fundraisers. And I can turn your space into an amazing, beautiful, incredible place where we can have all types of milestone events. The point of it is that it's an impactful event. Your fees that you pay for your party actually go to something good. So what I'm experiencing is that a lot of people are like, nobody wants to spend anymore. And that's just not the case. The case is that they're mindful of where their dollars are going. So when you put it to something good, they're more than happy to spend it.
That's amazing. I'm just blown away because I think you're completely on to something where with so many different places to spend your money, everyone's taking that extra step, or at least hopefully everyone's taking that extra step to think, what's the function and the purpose that can go along with this, so that it's not just a party, but you're actually supporting those spaces that you're probably helping to keep alive by offering this new revenue stream. And you're doing all the work from the funding, the financing, and even the events you'll eventually hold. That's all you taking care of everything so that location, that property isn't responsible for taking on a new... That way they can focus on their main purpose.
Mission. Yeah. And and none of those spaces that I work with right now want to be gigantic, really expensive event venues. They don't want the $100,000 weddings, which are really popular on Long Island. There's plenty of places that you can do that, and they'll do an amazing, beautiful job. But that's just not what people want right now. They are looking for something else.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So take me back a little bit, because I can't imagine how somebody gets to this space where you're willing to conquer and tackle such big things. So what was the earliest you can remember thinking that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, a business, that you wanted to do something for yourself?
Yeah, so I started event planning and community building about 15 years ago. I moved to Patchogue and I was just totally inspired. I really enjoyed the way that everybody works together, the way that everybody collaborates. And I co-founded a young professionals group there. I was a part of, the chamber and different, things that they do there. And I kind of built two careers at once. I had a very traditional restaurant manager, catering manager, wedding person, that type of career. And at the same time, I was building a volunteer career. So I donated my time all the time. Something that they say in church is like time, treasure, or talent. What can you give? I can always give time and I can always give talent.
Sure.
So I contributed a lot. We do a lot of programming in the high schools. We do a Shark Tank competition every year. We do different business panels for them. And I felt really inspired that when I started my own business, it needed to have a social good component. There's no way that I could work somewhere that doesn't contribute to the community that we're in. So I've partnered with many restaurants over the years. I've worked with them. I've worked for them. Now I get to work with venues that really contribute to the community and want to give back.
That's amazing. I'm getting the good kind of chills and the good kind of goosebumps, but it's still business. So
Yes.
Was there ever a time where you thought of giving up?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I do that every day.
Okay,
But
then how do you fight that? What's inspiring you to get past that doubt and those moments of feeling like it's the end?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally what I did before was that I would give, and my cup would be empty. And, at that point, it's like, all right, well, something has to give. I have to do something differently. But I didn't think it was fair that I choose a career that I love. I worked in a nonprofit and I was poor and I didn't like that. I don't want to live my life like that. I want to really run a business, and there's no reason why I can't partner with nonprofits and help them. For them to hire an event planner, any organization, an executive director, if you hire an event planner and you're doing a fundraiser and now you don't have to worry about the logistics of your event, you can go sell more sponsorships. You can go take care of your members. You can talk to more people. You can recruit more. Yep. But you have to take that off of your plate. So that's really what I wanted to do. I want to help these nonprofits run like a business and make money, and we can't rely on grants. We can't rely on the government to bail us out all the time. It's just not possible. And I think that there's a lot of families that get left behind in that because everybody thinks that somebody else is taking care of it, and it's just not the case.
Yeah, I am intimately familiar with families and individuals who have an idea that, oh, there's a system in place.
Yeah.
There's a policy, there's a program, there's something waiting for when I need that. And it's usually only when they get to that point of need that they realize there is no system for that.
No.
There is no, the safety net is narrower, more narrow, I think, than we want to believe. But
Yeah.
as you're going through all these different changes and iterations, I can't imagine everything was perfect. So we all think we learn something from success. We all learn something from failure, but I am curious about what's the value of a failure for you? What's the value of a miss?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I revamped the company this year was a failure at first, where I came up with this entire concept because I couldn't find a location that I wanted. I couldn't find the funding that I needed to renovate a location. So being able to partner up with the hall that this church owned let me renovate the entire space at no cost to them at all. I asked for a lot of favors. It's a church. I'm like, come on, guys, you got to help me out. And I have a lot of friends. I tell people it's tough being my friend because I will spend your money, but it's all going to go to something good.
Right.
So I just had to hustle that. And the fact that I couldn't get the funding that I needed to renovate a building was a blessing in disguise. Because yes, I could have just opened another hall. There's so many of them on Long Island. And I would have been fine. And it would have been great. And it still would have been awesome. But I instead created this other concept that really fed my values and my goals.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really great. I'm absolutely blown away by the story of it, by the growth of it, that you're doing this now. So if you had that chance to kind of go back and tell, 12-year-old you something that they should remember for when these times are coming up, what's that advice to the young you?
Yeah, I mean, to just stay with the course, trust my gut. I really felt like, what's wrong with me that I can't work in a place that doesn't want to donate mac and cheese to a river cleanup that I live on?
Right.
So having that and knowing that that was the right path that I needed, that there's nothing wrong with me to want to do something bigger than you, to want to contribute to your community, to want to take care of other people. I was raised in religion, and I'm not really that religious now, even though I work in churches.
That's okay.
But I was raised that way, that you have to take care of other people. So some of the restaurants that I worked for, they would get, I could see their numbers, I know their numbers, and they don't want to donate a tray of mac and cheese, And that just, to me, it was something that I kept harping on, and I didn't know why. I thought I was crazy, but I just felt like I was onto something. I knew that I needed to stay on this. I knew that community was what I wanted to do. I knew I was a community builder. I didn't know how to say that. Like, how do you talk about being someone that just connects people, And everybody wanted me for my skills when I would come to a job, but then they wouldn't know how to use me because I'm like, no, this is really who I am. So you brought me on for this, and if you're not going to contribute to the community that you're serving, I don't know how to help you. This is what works.
I think you've nailed it in that you couldn't, they wouldn't let you, so you'll do it yourself.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
So I'm just going to do that.
You did say something really interesting there about connections and the cost of being your friend. And a big thing that we're trying to achieve here would be to help our business community and our business leaders understand that there are just so many of us out here. There's value in all of us. So give me some thoughts. Obviously, your client, one client is the person who wants to run or have or host an event. And your other client now is potentially any venue that could host that event.
Yeah.
And maybe they never even considered that source of income, that option for their business. So as we're out here listening to this, hopefully all 1 million, 2 million, 3 million listeners that we're going to have, week in and week out, what can they be listening for in their conversation to think, this is someone I should connect to Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that has a space that wants to generate income on it.
Without doing the work.
Without doing the work.
Because you're going to do the work.
I'll come in and I'll do everything. You need a fundraiser for a renovation? Let me know. You want me to look at your building before you start a renovation? I would love to. I just walked into a church not that long ago, and he had a $400,000 renovation plan that he got funding for his church. He wasn't going to touch the party room. And I was like, the party room is not part of your plan. That's what you need. So, he was like, this is why I wanted you to come and look at it and make sure that we're on track. And I was like, you're not. Let me help you. So I really want to talk to people who are like, I have this space. I don't know how to use it. And not every space is going to be perfect for every occasion. Right. Some are going to be great for networking events and business events. Some are great for Sweet 16s. Some are great for sporting events. We do some volleyball places. Yeah. Pickleball is a thing. So if you have a space for that, I have people. So anyone that really wants to contribute to their own community and highlight their business too. Because, if you're a construction company and you need me to make a deal for you, you'll do some work, you'll donate in your local church, but Tiffany, how do I get some recognition off of this? Let me work on that with you. Let me figure that out with you. I'm really great at sponsorships and making sure that there's value in that. I think over time we've gotten a little bit lazy with asking for sponsorships, donations, and we're not really creative with it. Yes, I can throw up a banner at any type of event you want to, but I could do more for you too. So having that one-on-one conversation is the best part of that. So anyone that wants to partner or they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing here, call me.
And it sounds like even service providers and vendors can be great connections, right? I imagine you must be an amazing Rolodex for contractors, builders, restaurants, all of that.
Absolutely. So I'm also an event coordinator for a networking group called Huga, and we have about 15 different networking events every month, and I run them for them.
That was 15 per
month.
month.
Yes.
Okay.
We work out of a lot of tap rooms because they're all
Yep.
over the island.
Great business.
Yep. And anyone that has multiple locations throughout the island is a perfect partner for me. So being able to utilize that and bring people together for connection, collaboration, and to do business together after the event is really, really important. We need to work on the culture of our events too, which is not really something that people think about. They walk across the room and they're handing out business cards to everybody, and you're not really having great connections that way. I call it like a business card giveaway. That's what you're going to. So I really work with them and other places to have just better events. You know?
It's not just the lighting and the space and the tables
Nope.
and the chairs. You're actually advising your clients on both sides how to optimize the space and how to get the most out of the event.
Yep. And afterwards, too. People throw these gigantic events. They spend so much money on it, and they have no follow-up plan. So it's after the event, too. How are we talking to your audience? How are we getting your community back together? How are we making some sales after that? Those are all important things. And in my history of volunteering, running those big-scale events, it's time that people really need and they undervalue. So if you ask anyone on the street, whether they're an event professional or not, how long does it take to plan a wedding? How long does it take?
I would think it takes 3 years to plan a wedding.
3 years. No, everybody says a year.
That's how long it would take me.
I know. So it's understood generally that it takes a year to plan a wedding. And you're going to take that time to talk to every expert and vendor you possibly can. You're going to try and DIY everything that you can. You're going to try and save money wherever you can. You're also going to take your gifts into consideration. Okay, some people are going to give, and we're going to be able to recoup that money. But now you get a community center together, a chamber, an organization, whatever it is. They put 20,000 people on the street, and they start planning 2 months before. Why? You're all volunteers. You're all running your own businesses. You're all running your own families. You're not totally focused on this. You need to hire an event professional to take care of that so you can go sell sponsorships, so you can go worry about your members. You can go recruit more members and actually have better sponsorship packages when you know what those people want. You can offer everybody a banner, sure, but does that really give you a return?
Not sure.
Exactly.
My suspicion is there's room for improvement.
Absolutely.
In that part of it. I am just blown away at the fact that you are able to accomplish this where it doesn't seem as if it's at the expense of either. This is a business. I wish for it to be a very profitable business.
Thank you.
You're not compromising on the value proposition. You're doing good and meaningful work. And the level of your ability to assist both the client, the venue, the vendors. I'm going to speak directly to you right now. If what you've heard now has not jogged an idea, I'm suspicious that you have not been listening or paying attention. So really consider reaching out to Tiffany. We'll make sure the information is available to get you connected. I am very grateful for the time that you have given us today.
Thank you.
I am blown away by this. Say the name, please, one more time of the business.
Impactful Events and Venues.
Impactful Events and Venues, because these events are going to be impactful to all parties. All right, quick rapid fire questions.
Go ahead.
All right, first thing that comes to mind, don't overthink it. But first we're going to ask you for a piece of art that's meaningful to you. Book, movie, song, no limits on that.
Family First Entrepreneur. It's a book that I read, and I live by that every day. I don't take on projects that don't allow me to be a mom first.
Amazing. Favorite, for any reason, destination to visit?
The Dominican Republic is definitely where my family and I go, and I try and go as often as I can, which is not enough.
I imagine, not nearly often enough. But
Yes.
DR sounds great, especially today. It's awfully cold out. Who's a hero?
My mom.
I love that.
My mom always thinks that anything that I'm doing is amazing and incredible, and she never tells me I'm crazy.
I think your mom has a lot of company today
Yeah.
of people thinking what you're doing is amazing and
Thank
not
you.
crazy because you've considered it from every angle.
Yes.
And favorite meal?
Rice and beans and chicken. I will eat that all day long. Anything that my grandma wants to make, I just have such a great feeling about it. Like rice and beans and chicken, nothing crazy. That's all that I want.
Amazing. All right, Tiffany, it is time for us to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us on the Long Island Business Podcast. Please consider connecting with Tiffany Rivera at eventful, impactful events and venues. Because if you can't find a way to either help or be helped by Tiffany, again, I'm worried that you just weren't paying attention. Again, my name is Adam Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.